this is what I want to talk about in Touch Point. Um, the crypt, how crypto mining, how long it will take you to break even in crypto mining,
Great
and why
topic.
this is a bad time to get into crypto mining.
Great topic.
I assigned this to our graphics editor, Jared Walton. He did a fantastic job actually making a chart of all the different cards and how long they would take to have you break even. So
That's fascinating.
So I figure that'd be good because I know crypto always is in the news. People are always interested in it. So, well, always in the last couple of few years. So anyway,
Understood.
so that's what I got.
Sounds good. I know 5 articles published this weekend. Obviously, the AMD thing is from, or NVIDIA thing is from last week.
Right.
It just, we forgot to hit publish on it because I was dying.
Right.
So, I imagine you saw the actual 4.
Yes, I did.
Excellent. All right. Let me send. Okay. All right. That's done. Hello, live people. We'll be getting started momentarily. We're having one of those nights. I got so distracted watching Hulu that I totally forgot to set things up. Also, we have a new sponsor coming in tonight for those of you who are regulars. So be prepared for me to stumble over some new copy. All right. I guess with that, I am ready to go.
Yeah.
All right. This week, Apple is charging for nothing, Nintendo is looking for 5 years, and RIAA is looking for a hit piece. It's Sunday, February 6th, 2022, and this is episode 617 of F5 Live Refreshing Technology, a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat, through a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, or a myriad of other options, our live stream platforms at livestream.com, Twitch, or YouTube, or of course on our website, plugkidslive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are 2 ways that you can do that. The first is Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can go to f5live.tv/join us. There you can chat with us in the studio. Give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about them. If you're not able to join us live, that's okay. plugkidslive.com/subscribe has all of our shows, including F5 Live, The Pilch Point, Plugkids Live Presents, First Looks, and a whole lot more. And of course, you'll find all the ways to watch, listen, and follow along. We're back, Avram. It's good to be back.
Yes.
We ended up being off last week, last minute, because I had no voice. And a tech talk show where one of the hosts can't talk is not a terribly interesting show, I would imagine.
Oh, I guess not. It would not be that interesting. We just have to encourage the commenters to do stuff.
Or I'd have to learn sign language and then make everybody else learn. Thank you. It was rough. I basically didn't have a voice for like 3 days, and then the sore throat lasted through like Friday.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but I'm mostly feeling better now. There's still a little bit of a tickle. If I mute myself randomly during a sentence, it's because of a coughing fit. But other than that, everything's fine.
Oh man, I guess because of being in the house so much, I haven't really had like I've been we have fingers crossed been very fortunate to not get COVID yet. I say yet because it sounds like eventually everybody may get it, but I'll bide my time till trying to buy my time and not get it. And so I haven't like had a really serious cold or flu or anything in at least 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. My body's not prepared. Um,
Not ready for
so
the outside world.
yeah, I'm not ready for the outside world. So we'll see though, because other members of my family go outside. Like my son goes to school every day, so
Sure.
it's not like I can avoid all the germs.
You can't hide forever. They will
Yeah,
find you.
yeah, you can't win. Speaking of you can't win, I just want to, as this is a topic that has come up before, I'm just going to fetch for like 30 seconds about Google's developer policies again,
Oh no.
which I have brought up before. So this is like a new annoyance. So for all our listeners who are uh, or viewers who are programming Google Chrome extensions, or those who may just install Google Chrome extensions and have an interest in how the sausage is made. Uh, the Google recently changed a policy, like recently, I mean January 17th, but they didn't, you know, really put the word out there about it, or at least I didn't realize until I went to try and upload something that as of January 17th, you can no longer upload extensions that are use what's called manifest v2. So there's like they have this like set of um, like this file called the manifest file that's like laid out, and there's certain, so it's basically they've changed the way the API works, right? So
Right.
like, and for the third time, right? So there was manifest v1, and then there's manifest v2, and now they say, oh, we are not disabling all the manifest v2 extensions, but you can't upload any new ones.
Oh.
Okay, so now I have to go and learn the new way of doing things, which because I was simply trying to upload an extension that I made for somebody in like 20 minutes. I built a whole bunch. By the way, this is like the easy. This used to be the easiest thing in the world to do. I
Mm-hmm.
make extensions for different sites of people I know. That's like, hey, if you hit a key and space bar in your browser, then you can search that site, just that site. So
Okay.
like, like for example, I have it in my browser where if I hit T in space, then from the Omni bar, from the browser bar, I can just search Tom's Hardware and not the rest of Google. All it does is just like add site colon tomshardware.com to the end of it. So it's like a really, really simple extension, but it saves you some time if you want to search your own site. So my parent company, we own a lot of sites, and I've made this type of extension for like 20 of them. It takes me like a few minutes. The longest part of the process is actually submitting it to Google, not actually the code. So the code takes like a minute. But anyway, so now they changed the manifest standards so that you can't program it the way they used to. And even though apparently the feature that allows you to do what I just told you, which is like add suggestions or add something to the Omnibox, is
Mm-hmm.
broken in V3. It's not
Oh.
purposefully disabled, it's broken, it's a bug, and it's been a known bug for more than a year and they haven't fixed it. But meanwhile, this bug that they introduced, they you now cannot, the workaround for it was don't use the new version,
Sure.
that v3, use v2. Now you can't use v2, and you can't do this, so they effectively broke like the ability to do this. If you have an existing extension that modifies or gives suggestions or anything in the address bar, it will work. But if anyone wants to upload a new one, they cannot.
Or an updated one, presumably.
It's not clear to me what will happen if I try to upload an update to an existing
Gotcha.
one. It says no new extensions. I don't know. I tried to get around that because I found an extension I had that like I wasn't using anymore or something.
Sure.
It may be the case that you can't do upload because I found one that no one was using anymore, and I tried to upload over it because I was like, oh, if you can't do a new one, maybe if I upload over an old one, it'll let me do it. And there, it still wouldn't let me do it. So you could be right. It could be the case. I mean, that would really be bad because I have some much more complicated extensions that use V2 that I would need to redo. And like, there's no sizable warning about this.
Yeah.
They did say like they've had a thing on the store like use Manifest V3. It's newer and your stuff will get approved faster or something. But they never said like, okay, after this date you're going to be hosed. And like why they have to do it is anybody's guess because it is not improved security or privacy. In fact, I think who it was, the EFF or somebody was complaining that Manifest V3 is actually worse for privacy than V2.
Oh, good.
So, anyway, there's my rant. We can get on to other stuff, but more frustration here this week.
Well, so the thing that's interesting about this, Avram, is that Apple announced that they're kind of adding a feature, something that used to exist in Chrome, private listed apps.
It does. Okay. So it does exist in Chrome.
Okay.
But, and I think I've mentioned this before, why it's so frustrating. The private listed apps still go through the same approval process as if they were publicly listed.
Okay.
And here's what really kills me too. So most of mine, actually all of mine are unlisted because I don't want them showing up in search because it's just something that maybe like 100 or 200 people I know are going to use. Right. And other people who found them would be like, hey, wait a second. What is this for? What does this do for me? Mm-hmm. But of course, the way that the Google views it is, oh, this is for everybody. But the other thing is, I also can upload stuff that is just for my company's domain. Right. And I've done that with some extensions because those don't have to go through approval process. So as long as we only allow people who are within the company to use it, and it's
then
limited
everything's fine.
Then except even there, they won't let you upload Manifest V2 stuff.
Okay.
It just won't allow it. Period. Like it does. So even for your private store, you can't do it.
Fascinating. So. Well, I'm kind of excited about the introduction of the private listings for the App Store for a number of reasons, not the least of which is hopefully they don't have the 90-day timeout that Test Flight has, which should theoretically make my life easier for a particular project for your company.
Yeah, I hope so.
The 90-day timeout on that drives me nuts.
Yes.
Make no changes. Put a new version in. Upload it again. Anyway, I was thinking about you when I was while I was reading about that, because I'm like, hey, it's like the Chrome thing finally coming to the App Store. 14 years later. Good job, guys. You nailed it. Anyway, we've got a lot to get to, so let's do it now. This week's Nifty Gifties and F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, a tablet, desperately seeking an Xbox, new games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store and Current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% on almost everything. To learn more about the discount and to browse the products that are available, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. Speaking of Apple and the App Store, obviously we've been following this story for it feels like 100 years now. It all started with Epic Games and Apple, and it has progressed on to one particular new rule. Then in the United States, Apple will be required to allow developers to use third-party payment systems for in-app purchases. Now, this was theoretically going to be a big deal until we talked a couple of months ago how it seemed like Apple had managed to clutch success out of the talons of defeat by figuring out that they could and should charge a commission on payments that they're not involved in. This report came about, I think, at the end of December of last year, that they were considering putting a commission fee on top of these third-party payments. And this week, because of some new legislation in the Netherlands, we might have a sneak peek of what that'll look like. Normal App Store payments, Apple charges a 30% commission, and in the Netherlands, they're planning to charge a 27% commission on third-party payments, which they have zero to do with. They don't facilitate. In fact, they have fought against it, and they're going to charge almost the same percentage for something that they're 100% uninvolved in as they do for something that they're 100% involved in. Now, here's my take on this, Abram. I feel like they have just done one of two things. They have either admitted that after all these years of saying that the 30% was fair because of how much, how much more streamlined the payment process is by going through the App Store, they have now proven that no, it actually is mildly beneficial because they believe that the other system should be 27%. Or they're finally admitting, and these aren't mutually exclusive, and or they're finally admitting that the 30% is actually about trying to keep infrastructure costs and pushing them to the developers, and that very little of it is actually about payment costs.
Well, I mean, look, I think it's very generous of you to say trying to keep infrastructure costs. I mean, I'm sure that this is primarily about profit.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make a profit. What is their margin on? I mean, you raise an interesting question, which I really hadn't thought of before, which is what does it actually cost Apple to host an app in the App Store?
Mm-hmm.
Does it? I mean, they have to do some small amount of, I guess, hosting of the files, pushing of the updates. They have to maintain the store and promote stuff. They have to hire people to moderate the store and approve things. So, it's not a cost
plus all the work. Plus all the work to make APIs available, all of the development environment stuff, all of that comes around the cost of running the store.
So it definitely, costs them big money to run a store. On the other hand, they run the store because they make, money off of. They make quite a good money off of it, and also without the store, the iPhone itself has a lot less value.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what the iPhone would be worth if Apple didn't run a store?
Right.
And I mean, I don't know what the world would be like then. But
we could ask Palm or BlackBerry.
Right. So I mean, they even if they didn't make a dime from the store, the amount of, you know, money that they make from selling iPhones probably justifies what they put into the store,
Sure.
right? Uh, Plus, they're certainly going to be getting money from you know, from all of the paid apps that people buy the app, right? They take a commission on that.
True.
So even if they didn't charge people for third party payments or first party payments, uh, they would still be making money on anything that was a paid app in the store. Now, maybe what they figured out is that more people are getting sort of free apps where the service is the money, and that's where the
Uh-huh.
real money is made, is subscription revenue.
Or
Um,
freemium, pay to
right,
play, pay to win kind of games and stuff like that. Fortnite
right,
are is our great example of that.
right. So for all of those reasons, it seems like, um, yeah, for all those reasons, it seems like they just want to make a profit, and let's let's not. I mean, the value of a payment service, like, what does it really cost? I don't know. Like, I don't know what it costs to process a transaction. Like,
I know that because we're working on setting up a brick and mortar business, unrelated to all of the things that we're doing now because we're crazy. I know that I've gotten offers for free payment hardware, a $1,200 POS system, and 27-cent processing fee and 0.01%. That and that company is making money somewhere.
right. So in other words, it's not like the amount that they're charging is way out of whack for like what I mean, I'm not sure though if Apple's a credit card processor, so maybe they have to pay a credit card processor to process credit card payments.
I don't know.
Um,
They're a credit card issuer at this point, so I would guess that they're probably a processor.
yeah, you're right. Um,
Today,
it
now
does,
if we were talking 5 years ago, I would have said almost certainly they're paying somebody to do it.
right. So who knows? But whether they are or not, but the bottom line is like they're making so much money on this. There's no way that like but yeah, it is sort of an admission when you say like, oh, 3%, there's a 3% difference between them handling your payment uh and you handling your own payment. But realistically, it's not about that, right? Like they just want your money. And it's punitive, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah, you want to do it? Sure, you can do it, but it's not going to really save you any money. In
Yeah.
fact, it probably costs you more because even if it's 20, even if you're saving 3%, I'm sure it costs a certain amount for them to process
Uh-huh.
the payment themselves. That may be more than 3%.
Right. There's other costs on top of the 27%. Yeah, exactly. And like you said, it's literally punitive. They are furious about all of this. They don't like that they're going to lose cash. They don't like that they're losing 100% control over their platform. No part of this is a win for them, and they're just looking for ways to smack people around that are wanting to go this way. But we talked about this last time that we had this conversation, I think in December. How is this going to work? Is this going to be a self-reporting system?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I don't understand is how they're going to find out what you like. How are they going to find out that a transaction occurred?
Right. I,
So
it, are they gonna require some sort of a third party payment opening API to be used, or what are we
does
what
this
are we
only count
talking about?
for does this only count for things where somebody clicked within the app, like if I'm a Netflix subscriber, I mean, I think you said that this hasn't happened with like Netflix. If I sign up with Netflix on Netflix.com on my browser, uh, and I'm paying it that way, are they then entitled to it because to that payment because I use Netflix on my phone? I don't think so, right?
No, in fact, for a long time, that was the workaround. And then they put a policy in that you couldn't actually open the browser from within your app to do that. And then, so you couldn't sign up in Netflix. Netflix said, go to your computer and sign up. That's the best we can do for you. It's just
Right. Well, you could tell people to do it. I mean,
right. That's
not a great experience because people will abandon it. But
exactly. You just can't link to it. You can tell them to do it. You just can't link to it.
yeah, I mean, it is. I understand it is hard to actually get people to do something when you're not linking them to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just telling like, hey, go please do this. I don't know. I had a really funny experience once when one of my very first like real full-time job. I was working for this magazine called National Jeweler magazine, and one of the guys there had this group.
That's a new one for the list. Continue.
Okay, a new one for what? My list of weird stories.
No, past publications. Continue.
Okay, so. I had no interest in jewelry. It was just a job that I could get. I was the web dude there. I mean, I still think that people should just give each other like computer parts instead because it's so much more valuable. But anyway,
especially now.
So, yeah, I mean, but listen, my wife wouldn't accept a graphics card in lieu of an engagement ring. Although, if it were today, who knows? But when I was working there, one of the guys who was running it had this idea, which I thought was bonkers, and it was bonkers, that he would start. Now this is the '90s, so it really wasn't like e-commerce was still in its infancy. That instead of he would set up a site called Jewelry Search, and folks would search for jewelry, and then it would tell them a store where they could go to buy it.
Okay.
And he's like, but you couldn't click through to buy anything or whatever. And I'm like, how are you going to make money off of? How is anyone going to know that this worked? And he's like, oh, because they'll print something out and come to the store and say, I want this piece of jewelry. The best part about it too was that the stores that were listed there weren't guaranteed to actually have the jewelry.
Okay.
It was just like, hey, here's some jewelry. The store probably may or may not have it, but if you print it out, this thing, and bring it to a jewelry store, they might be able to order it for you.
Oh,
like it was so.
Weren't the early days of the web wild?
No, we knew this was a bad idea at the time. Okay, that I knew this was a bad idea at the time. I told the dude that this was a bad idea at the time, but But anyway, I think in the history of the site, one person or two people might have like printed something out and gone to their jewelry store. At which point the jewelry stores were like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but as long as you're here, let me sell you something else. So like getting somebody to like go do something offline, like off of the experience when they've been on an experience is really difficult, no matter how easy and simple the thing is. Like, just go to Netflix and sign up.
Yeah. And
right.
Anybody who tries to do any kind of marketing using Instagram knows this, right? Because Instagram only has one link in your bio. You can't put clickable links in a post. So anybody who's tried to do any kind of marketing on Instagram knows how hard it is to not even to necessarily leave the experience. Yeah, click the link in the bio. You don't even have to leave Instagram to get to the link, and people are like, too much work.
Yeah.
So yeah, being able to process these payments third party through a buy now button that does a thing is going to be essential. But there's going to be no way for Apple to guarantee that they have any idea what's happening. And that's not going to make any of this better for anybody, I can't imagine. It seems like it's just going to annoy people. I don't know. This is not necessarily, it's important to note, this is not necessarily the experience that's coming to the United States. This is what's happening in the Netherlands for dating apps specifically. But I cannot imagine that without some sort of legislation or some sort of a court order, this is not exactly how it gets implemented here when the future comes our way. That, just guessing. This week's Pilch Point with Avram Pilch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices. You can get a special price right now and a 30-day money-back guarantee by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. And it's interesting because that experience right there kind of ties in with what we were just talking about. Anyway, unrelated, that's not the Pilch Point. We have been talking a lot, and we're going to talk a little bit about NFTs. We talk a lot about blockchain and crypto, and you have got some interesting information for us this week.
Yes, indeed. So, who wants to get into crypto mining? Don't.
Oh.
So we have a story on Tom's Hardware this week, written by our senior editor, Jared Walton, who covers all of our graphics card stuff, including mining. And what he's talking about is the fact that crypto mining is now really unprofitable. It's for new folks who are getting into it and need to invest in the equipment. So, first of all, we've seen a massive drop in crypto prices since November, although they've recovered a little bit. But to talk about that, so the main cryptocurrency that people mine on computers is Ethereum. Bitcoin is now not really mined on PCs anymore. It's mined on specially designed computers called ASICs. So for those who were thinking, hey, I'm just going to buy a computer, fill it with one or more high-end graphics cards and, hook it up to the internet, leave it on 24/7 and make some money mining Ethereum. Which is the most profitable currency. They are not putting themselves in a good position. So first of all, Ethereum, the value of Ethereum has gone down. So just as Bitcoin has. So in the peak at the beginning of November 8th, an Ethereum coin was worth $4,811. Right now it's worth $3,044. And at one point a couple of weeks ago, it was worth $2,541. So it dropped significantly. But forget the drops. Maybe it comes back, whatever. It's like stocks, crypto can go up and down. But here's what's going on. The cost of electricity, because you got to figure that in. Electricity is a huge part of the cost, right? The cost of buying the graphics card, buying the CPU, building your computer, all of that stuff, the amount of days it would take for you to break even on your investment is at least 521 days. At least. Now we have a chart here. We have a chart now. Here's how Jared lays it out, right? So you've got to figure that someone wants to buy. Okay, so each and by the way, for those who care about the environment, um, all crypto mining is absolutely horrible for the environment. Um, for example, conducting a transaction that maybe someone spent $15 uses up $26 worth of electricity uh, because of the blockchain. So anyway, um, so what's going on, just maybe to take a step back into like what the heck does crypto mining do for folks who don't know exactly how it works. So obviously crypto mining is the process of creating just creating currency for yourself, and virtual currency. And of course cryptocurrency is not tied to any government. It is said to be more secure, but on the other hand, it is not anonymous. Do not, be fooled by that. So what happens is crypto miners are all taking assignments basically from every time somebody wants to conduct a transaction, they want to buy a coffee with Ethereum, if there's a place that accepts it. They want to, I don't know, buy something, whatever. That gets processed by someone on the network, which is called the blockchain, right? And for most cryptocurrencies, especially the main ones, Ethereum, Bitcoin, uh, the way that you earn money processing these transactions is you have something called a proof of work, which means that your computer has solved a really complex mathematical, I guess, puzzle, for lack of a better term, and has therefore, therefore you get a coin. Now, usually what happens these days is it's difficult to get those assignments. It could take weeks, months, whatever to mine one coin. So a lot of smaller miners are part of a network like Nice Hash, where they sign up and their computer kind of becomes a node on this network. And so depending on how much processing resources their computer gives, that's how much they earn. So anyway, you if you do the math on this, a someone who, for example, buys a Radeon RX 5700 XT GPU, they which has a nice hash rate of 323. That's like, you know, that's how many, like, I guess, equations per second are being processed. Or is it, I think, mega hash? Maybe that's how many thousands of equations. Anyway, so that person would be spending about $5,600 today to build that machine. Uh, Now, they would also be spending about, let's say, about 10 cents per kilowatt hour uh, to process this, and the amount of kilowatt hours per day they're using would be quite significant. So, if you look at it that way, you would maybe earn $10.78 of profit a day on that Radeon card. And so, given the amount that you have to spend to get that, you're talking about spending 521 days to break even. But it can get worse. If you get an RTX 3050 card, which is kind of a low end card, so it's a little bit slower, but less of an investment. You get that card, you put in your system, and you are talking about earning $4.27 a day on what we figure is an outlay of about $3,992 to build your system. I think these assumptions are that you're actually going to have multiple cards in the system, not just one. Because again, you need more. You need the more graphics cards you have, the more the faster you're going to process. I mean, you can mine Bitcoin with a Raspberry Pi, but it's, which has no, which is not much of a graphics system at all, but it's going to take you like 10 years or something to, who knows if we'll still be, cryptocurrency will be the same thing by then, right? Um, so, or maybe it'll take you 100 years, like to mine a coin. So, um, you know, with like a 3050, you're making like $4.27 a day. By our math, that means that it would take you 935 days to break even. So, like, why on earth would you get into this business? And Ethereum may actually go through a change where it's no longer doing proof of work and it's doing something called proof of stake, which kind of which would mean that you're not doing the calculations that you're doing now. So it could change the whole game anyway. And who knows after 500 days whether your graphics card is still going to be functional. I mean, most of these graphics cards have not been made to be running at 100% capacity for 24/7 for years, right? I mean,
Yeah,
the
for
fans
sure.
can wear out, like, and I'm not gonna name names here, but some sites uh, that we know uh, have written articles about laptops that you can mine with. That is just a really bad idea. You should not be mining on laptops. Uh, Now, there was some mining farm, I think, and where some company, I mean, when you talk about mining farms, you've got like professionals who are like doing things like buying an old coal plant and using the power there and just doing stuff to get crazy cheap electricity and just doing things in such bulk that, there was actually, I think, at one point, some crazy mining farm where they tried to use laptops, but that is such a bad idea. So, you're talking about maybe you would get like 40 mega hash per second or less on a 3080 laptop. That So you're talking about the laptop maybe costs $2,000. Uh, then the cooling isn't quite so good. So you're talking about, we believe it would take 1,000, depending on how limited the GPU was by NVIDIA's, they're trying to limit your hash rates on these because they don't really want people to be mining on them. It it would take you between 1,000 or 1,500 days uh, to break even on your $2,000 laptop.
Yikes.
I mean, and do you think your $2,000 laptop will last 1,000 days doing that?
At 100%
Like
capacity?
100% capacity, 24/7?
Half the
No,
laptops
I
we
don't think
see
it will.
today don't survive 3 years, 1,000 days at normal capacity.
I mean, I don't know. I've had better luck than that, but I mean, you don't, like, these things wear out. Will wear out a graphics card and a computer when you're running it at like full bore like that. I mean, that's more than you would do when gaming, right? Because not every moment that you're gaming is your graphics card operating at 100%, right?
Right. And you
So
sleep.
yeah, even if you never slept or you tag teamed it and there was always somebody gaming on your computer 24/7, I still don't think it would have the wear and tear of mining. So, yeah, in short, this is not a good use of someone's money right now. It really is not. Those who have already gotten into the mining business are obvious, and they've already kind of amortized their costs, are going to to continue. And those who are running these massive farms where they've got certain efficiencies. Okay, maybe they're going to do this, but it is not wise. It is really not wise for you as an individual to mine. And if you're thinking, well, maybe I'll just mine a little. I have a computer that has decent graphics card. Maybe I'll just let it do a little mining while I sleep or something. You're gonna not make much money on that, if any, and you're gonna wear out your parts. Because if your system's not going 24/7, I mean, you may not really be able to, the idea of a mining rig is it's just gotta be 24/7 mining.
Right. Yeah, because you're never like the casual miner is almost never going to produce enough to even justify the computer's existence. And the cost of power alone screws everything up.
Right. I mean, the only argument that you could be made to do this is if somebody gave you a computer, you took it somewhere where you were not responsible for paying for the electricity, like
A
your
hotel.
office, and they didn't know, or a hotel. And yeah, that's what you should do. Whenever you go on vacation, just crypto mine in your hotel. Um, uh, but yeah, it's just not, it's not tenable. And by the way, if you care at all about the environment, like the carbon footprint of mining, both as an individual and just all the mining that takes place, is really significant. There's a
Hmm.
lot of electricity being wasted. A lot of electricity being wasted.
Yeah, for sure. It, Tons of electricity. And so my comment about, I just have to put this out there. My comment about hotels, in the early days of mining, it was 100% happening. People were getting hotel rooms at really inexpensive hotels, like the Plaza in Las Vegas on a normal Tuesday is about $29 a night. So so they'd get hotel rooms and then bring a bunch of mining rigs in and then just totally ruin their their electricity bill.
I wonder if they did something to stop that.
I don't know. It would be fascinating. So Terry in the YouTube chat room says we were asked if we'd entertain mining at Amrock, and we said no, especially at commercial utility rates. No thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just madness how much power it uses, and um, it's I'm still of the opinion that, like, I don't think cryptocurrency is a fad. Like, it's going to be here, but it's still like this mining craze is going to come to an end,
I
because
agree.
it's like, if there's a need, first of all, I think proof of work is going to be replaced by other things
Uh
like proof
huh.
of stake. And it's just like anything else, there are people who are going to jump on this now, like people are jumping on NFTs. Although NFTs, I think, are totally, like, there will be cryptocurrency 10 years from now, whether crypto mining as like a way of making good money is will exist. I don't think so, but NFTs are just going to be forgotten. I mean, it'll be on, like, if they still have VH1, it'll be on, like, I Love the 2020s or something. People, do you remember when people bought something and didn't own it? Like, that is the weirdest thing. I mean, I'm sure you saw the whole story about
Like
the
a
woman who
timeshare.
was selling her farts, and
Uh
then
huh.
in jars, and then she decided she wanted to sell NFTs of her farts.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Oh
Which I
my
don't get
goodness.
because doesn't she have to? It doesn't there have to be an actual fart in an actual jar to make an NFT for it?
Uh,
Isn't an NFT supposed to represent a real thing?
NFTs are fascinating, and we have a whole NFT topic coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, I'll leave that
where,
be. But anyway,
where we can unload on the stupidity that is NFTs. But
okay,
yes, theoretically, it's supposed to represent something. I guess it could represent a concept. I don't know. NFTs, whatever.
yeah. And anyway, I won't bore you with this, but the but anyway, if you want to read more about why you shouldn't mine cryptocurrency right now, then check out our article on tomsardenberg.com. Uh, you can also learn about uh, see our list of best graphics cards, which if crypto mining becomes less profitable, that's actually really good news for those of us who want to buy graphics cards to play games.
Indeed. Indeed.
So,
Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could go to a store and purchase a video card? Huh. What?
right. I mean, it's been poison, and it's poison like all the companies that were selling cards to miners or maybe making it easier for miners to buy. This has been poison for the PC gaming industry. It's really been poison. Like I get it that I mean that's is why I think Nvidia tried to put hash limiters on some of their cards. This is why on the other hand you have we've heard stories about other companies maybe prioritizing selling stuff to miners because the miners buy things in bulk and they pay more or whatever. But this is poison for the industry. It's really poison because your PC gaming is losing people to console gaming and other things because folks are so frustrated that they can't get a graphics card. And we don't know if those people are going to come back if the graphics cards come back. So this has been mining has been really poisonous for the PC gaming. And so this fad of like crazy snapping up of cards and mining has been very, very bad for the PC industry.
Yeah, for sure. It hasn't been good for PCs. It hasn't been good for gamers. It hasn't been good for even some of the wholesalers. It's been a problem for. So hopefully, as the value proposition continues to decline, hopefully it'll mean that you and I can actually purchase a video card again at some point. Fingers crossed, but I never I never try to get my hopes up until it's time. Well, Avram, I appreciate this information. It's an interesting update on obviously a topic we've been talking about for a number of years. And the profitability tables are not getting better. So now would certainly not be the time to get into it. Thank you for that. And as always, I look forward to what we talk about next time. This week's Extra Life in F5 Live is proudly powered by Exa. Exa brings the latest technology to gamers, offering the most immersive products for the ultimate gaming experience. They've compiled the best elements of cutting-edge ENC tech, the latest in Bluetooth 5.0 and 7.1 surround sound, plus extra features like dual mics and ultra low latency into their headsets, so everyone can enjoy a sensational gaming experience. And they've got headsets for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, plus they won't break the bank. Learn about the headsets that are available and any current promotions by going to f5live.tv/Exa, which is not what it says at the top of this screen, which I apologize for. That is spelled wrong. Anyway, yay, graphics. All right, so we know that anytime there's a closed ecosystem, you're going to have piracy, whether it be, CDs and people ripping them, or games and people making ROMs. You're always going to have piracy over digital content, even physical content. We see physical products ripped off all the time, and a little bit of all of that is what's involved in what's going on right now. There is a group called Team Executor that was doing a couple of things. First, they were making hardware to unlock the Nintendo Switch consoles. They claimed that their main purpose for this was to support the ever-growing homebrew community. The gaming world has always had an interesting relationship with homebrew. The PlayStation Vita, I think, was one of the most unlocked and homebrewed consoles ever. But there was legitimately homebrew gaming happening on that console, as opposed to what's happening on the Switch, where people were actually unlocking it so they could put illegal ROMs onto the console, basically play games they didn't pay for. Now, theoretically, could Team Executor have claimed that they did not know, they did not have control over what people were doing with the consoles once they had them? Yes, theoretically they could make that argument. The problem with the argument is the same group also operated several ROM sites where they were distributing illegal content. Whoops! Plausible deniability out the window. So basically, the whole team has pled guilty to their involvement in this. One person in particular, Gary OPA, whose real name, by the way, is Gary Bowser, which you couldn't have written that any better for the villain of this piece to be named Bowser when talking about Nintendo. But
so does he have a son with the same name, and is he Bowser Jr.?
Oh, you can only hope. So he has already agreed to pay $4.5 million to Nintendo. So if you needed any proof that this scheme was profitable, it certainly sounds like it was more profitable than crypto mining. $4.5 million to Nintendo in the criminal case, and another $10 million in a civil case. But here's where things get interesting. Prosecutors are looking for 60 months in prison as well, on top of nearly $15 million in damages.
Do we know that he actually has $15 million? Because you can sue someone for more money than they have. And so, yeah, he could he could be liable for $15 million and only have
$18 in his pocket.
$18 in his pocket. That just means that they're never going to get their money. Right.
And he's never going to get a future. Yeah, he's never going to get a house or a car or any kind of loan ever again.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. So there's that, but he's not going to. Right. I don't think because the assumption that he has that amount of money, I would bet that these did not make them that much money.
True.
I mean, maybe they made them some, but I doubt they made $15 million selling.
Yeah, probably not.
This stuff.
Probably not. But you never know, because selling a $60 game for $5 can be incredibly lucrative, especially after you sold them the hardware to make it possible.
Well, wait, so they were selling the ROMs? They weren't free ROMs?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're making money on the ROMs and the hardware.
Yeah. So all kinds of problems in this thing. But they are looking for 60 months in prison, 5 years. And so so this guy was not the leader. He was not the founder. He was theoretically a lowly member of the organization, but it turns out he was kind of the face of it. Well, at least the voice of it, because nobody would be the face of something like that. He was the voice of it and the chief salesperson of it, which is interesting. And so it sounds like prosecutors, probably in conjunction with Nintendo, are looking to make an example out of this guy so that future would-be unlocker, hacker, criminals here reconsider their decision. The defense is saying, but he's not in charge. Shouldn't you be going after the big numbers for the guy who started all this? And they're like, well, everybody knows this guy, so one thing at a time. 60 months, let's go. It's definitely interesting. Personally, I don't think it's a problem. It's willful copyright violation, sales of hardware and software that were IP violation, and he admitted to it. This seems like an open and shut case to me.
I mean, it sounds like that, but on the other hand, uh, I mean, I think you got to look at like there's a lot of people who commit violent crimes
Yeah,
that are not put in jail for that amount of time.
that's true.
So 5 years is a long time to go to jail for something that is not uh, not violent, not a violent crime, not drug trafficking, not human trafficking, uh, not organized crime, not terrorism, uh, but selling pirated software. I mean, it's when you think about how much, um, you know, how little time a lot of people get for like really serious offenses. Like really, by serious, I mean this is serious, but I mean like ones where the victim was not Nintendo's bottom line, but
Right.
like a real person, real people. Um, the the 5 years does seem excessive in that regard. Although I also feel really bad for him, like in the prison yard, because like if people ask you like what you were in for, and it was like like armed robbery, murder, and you're like copying Nintendo ROMs, like
Selling Nintendo games.
selling Nintendo games. I mean, like that.
True,
I
true.
mean that just seems like it's going to get you shivved or something. And if you tell people that that's why you're in prison, so
Oh, true. Uh, Personally, I think that the fact that they're screwing up on one thing, which they are, right? I think there's an under, uh, I don't know, reporting is the word, and it's wrong. Under um, punishment for a lot of things. And I, but I don't. If you take those other things out of the equation, right? 5 years doesn't seem terribly. We don't know the exact scale of what was happening here, right? We don't know all the numbers, but for something that 15 million in damages was easily agreed to by all parties, it definitely seems like it would probably be a fairly fair thing. But maybe the problem is that we're not punishing violent crimes and things appropriately, which
I mean,
is its own issue.
but this is a case of economic damage, so you can see why
True.
the economic damages would be really high. Also, to be fair, right? Let's say Gary OPA doesn't actually have that much money, which I'm going to guess that he did not, right?
Probably.
What difference does it make to him whether he owes Nintendo $5 million or $15 million if he can't
True.
pay it?
True.
So he might as well save the money on lawyers and just agree to whatever they say they
True.
want, because if he's never going to be able to pay it and he's going to be in debt to them the rest of his life, it doesn't really matter whether it's 5 million or whether it's 1 million, 5 million, or 15 million, right?
True.
So there's no point in bargaining over that. I would guess. So, but yeah, it seems. I mean, it seems like a lot of prison time for. It seems like a lot of prison time. So,
Well, the
I
defense is
mean,
asking for 19 months. My guess is the prosecution probably shot high, looking for something in the middle. I wouldn't be surprised if 24 is what is settled at, somewhere in that range. But it's definitely an interesting situation. The whole thing is an interesting mess that has been interesting to follow, and definitely took a turn this week. I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting them to ask for 60, but I also wasn't expecting them the defense to go 19, basically a year and a half. That was actually higher than I was expecting the defense to go, but I'm guessing 24 is probably what they're going to agree to. But it makes sense if the goal is to make an example here, especially for Nintendo, who is almost always the victim of game pirating going back decades. I can see them trying to make an example out of the primary person that people interacted with in this scheme. I get what they're doing, but I think 60 is not going to happen. It's probably going to be more in the 24 range. But that's just a guess. We will keep you updated. This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live is probably powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, and it actively blocks things like worms, dialers, rootkits, exploits, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. All right, so Twitter is seemingly ever evolving. We never quite know what's coming next. And this week, a feature that has been in development and early testing is rolling out to a wider group. It is the downvote button. Previously in test, there was an upvote and a downvote button. The upvote seemed to be taking the place of the favorite button that we're all familiar with, because upvoting would turn it into a favorite or into a like, whereas downvoting works differently. Now, we're probably all pretty familiar with downvoting. Everything from Reddit to Ars Technica's forums have upvote and downvote capabilities. One of the things that Twitter was worried about was abuse of the downvote. And so, similar to how YouTube has removed the dislike button count, Twitter is not making the number public to anybody, including the content creators or the commenters whose comments are being downvoted. So, unlike YouTube, who has claimed that the reason why the downvote count was removed was to protect creators who can still see the count. In this case, no. Only Twitter knows how many downvotes there are, and only the person who hits downvote knows that they did it. Now, the purpose of it is essentially to mark comments, because you can't do it on original posts, is to mark comments as abusive, offensive, or irrelevant, with the intention of, if a number of people, downvote a particular comment, it will stop being one of the primary displayed replies. When you scroll through, they're not in alphabetical, temporal order or anything like that. They're in some Twitter-generated, algorithm-based order for the replies, and this would get factored into the algorithm. It is technically still in testing, but it has gone from an early beta test to what they're calling a global experiment. So probably expect to see this roll out in a fairly wide release very soon. Lots of people are reporting that they're already seeing it now. I think there's still room for abuse on this, though, because it seems like writing a comment on the original post to dogpile on a particular commenter seems like it's right up Twitter's alley.
Yeah, I don't see how this is going to work. How this is going to work well, because okay, so let's say it's a controversial topic and you don't like what the commenter has to say. If the goal of this was, hey, this is abusive or this violates some kind of standards versus I don't agree with this viewpoint,
Right.
people are going to click it if they don't agree with the viewpoint.
Absolutely. Yeah, it seems like it's guaranteed to cause problems for all kinds of reasons. Like it's almost like Twitter saying, "Hey, can you guys help us shadow ban?" Right? It it just seems like it's just, almost designed for problems. Now, in the YouTube chat, Terry says definitely room for abuse, but interesting to see where it goes. Great new tool for confirmation bias, which is basically what you were saying there, Abram.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think this is they they they're looking for a way to find abusive stuff, but this is not the way.
Yeah. What might be the way, however, is another feature that they are working on testing. Seems like it's in a significantly smaller test group. Although, to be fair, I have already checked all of the Twitter accounts that I have access to, and none of them have the downvote button yet. But similar to the feature that they rolled out a year or so ago, where before you retweet a link, it asks that you haven't opened. It asks you to think about it. You haven't read this. Are you sure you want to share it? They have another feature where if their AI determines that what you're about to reply is offensive, abusive, whatever, that it will come up with a similar dialog box that says, "Hey, so you might want to reconsider this because it sounds mean." And in their early testing, apparently it shows that about 30% of people who are shown that dialogue will amend what they have written or decide not to send it at all, which seems like a way more effective tool than "don't like this, downvote it." Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds like the kind of thing, like a cooldown period, right? Hey, this sounds like you might be a jerk. Do you really want to do this? And you still have the ability to do it, but a couple seconds to reread what you wrote and go, "Ooh, you're right. That does sound harsh." Doesn't seem like a problem to me.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how accurate it is in
Right.
terms of its ability to predict. But I mean, if it's not forcing the issue by stopping you from posting,
Mm-hmm.
then you yourself are making the call, right? Oh, well, it thinks I'm being abusive, but really the AI is not very smart, it doesn't get it, whatever.
It's not picking up sarcasm. It's not picking up, a
Right.
joking tone, that kind of thing.
Right, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
those things are hard to come by. I
Hmm.
mean, one of the
Even
things I
for
don't know if it's
humans,
still
even for humans, it's hard to pick up things like sarcasm in text unless you really know the
yeah.
human being that wrote it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for example, right? Um, I don't know if they still do it, but didn't Facebook used to label things that it considered to be like COVID misinformation or
Hmm.
whatever?
Oh yeah. Anything
And
anything that even remotely mentions it, they they put a warning
right,
label on.
so it could be like, you know, you could say something sarcastic like, hey, why don't we all just drink bleach or something, right?
Right.
Or something that's really hyperbolously, like, you don't, of course you don't mean this, right?
Right. Right.
Um, but then, who knows if the AI would get that and be like,
Right.
oh yeah, this person's giving you misinformation. So like,
Yeah.
or you're quoting somebody else to say what they said is ridiculous. So
Sure.
like, so anyway.
Yeah. Now, so in this same vein, Twitter currently scans posts for what it believes is going to be a rough conversation ahead of time and actually puts a little warning on posts that says, hey, so just remember, this is probably going to become a heated discussion. You may read things that are going to annoy you or anger you. Take a breath before you go in. Go.
Well,
I don't
that's
remember.
different than That's very different than Facebook, which says, please go in and get really angry. So,
That's true.
uh,
That's true.
right.
Yeah. We encourage
So,
anger. Go. Mosh pit. Mosh
yes,
pit.
it's like,
They're the kids on the
Facebook is
they're
the,
the kids on the playground going, fight, 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 fight.
yeah, basically, I mean, that's what Facebook is, right? I mean, their internal documents show it, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to highlight things that made people angry. Uh, so this is interestingly the opposite approach from Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely uh Terry says, please go in and get really angry. Perfect. That's that's a
Yes.
perfect descriptor of their business model. And it's interesting because on Twitter, it seems like Twitter does a lot of things to try and prevent it. Although, who knows? A warning like that might be like the anti-smoking ads that all the studies show that the more anti-smoking ads you see, the more likely you are to start smoking. Which is
Really?
why, yeah, it's the reason why Philip Morris did not fight the requirement for them to pay for the anti-smoking campaigns because it was actually the best marketing dollars they spent. People are
Wow. I
people
never
are
heard
more
that.
likely to smoke the more of the anti-smoking campaign, like the truth videos and stuff that you see all the time. The more of those you see, the more likely kids are to smoke. So Philip Morris was happy to pay for those as part of their settlement because it actually increased the behavior. And it might be the same thing here, right? The more work Twitter puts into it, we don't know. It might make it a more toxic environment. Right now, we have no studies to show the effectiveness of this thing. So a little warning that says, "Hey, this might get heated real quick," might send the type of people who are looking for a heated discussion in, and not the other way
You
around.
know, speaking of heated discussion on forums, have you ever heard the term grapes? Like no grapes?
Nope.
So okay, this would be how you would detect a conversation that could get angry, right? My So on the Tom's Hardware forums, we used to have a guy who ran it, and I mean, this is still the policy where they would say to the users, no grapes. So grapes stands for don't discuss these topics: guns, religion, abortion, politics, economics, or sexuality. Don't discuss those things because those are going to lead to divisive discussion. So he would say no grapes.
Okay. I that's a pretty it's a pretty smart list. It's kind of the Thanksgiving rules as well, right?
Right, right. So if they wanted to determine what post to caution people, it'll be like anything about grapes.
Okay. Fascinating. I don't know how you maintain the the acronym while also working cryptocurrency in there, but
So see, like in our case, like we're okay with people getting into an angry argument about like cryptocurrency or
Mhm.
graphics cards or something like that because at least it's a topical At least it's
Yeah.
a topical argument. It's a passion point place that we would like to be, right?
Now I can never eat grapes again. Thanks.
Sorry.
Crepes. Thank you. Thank you for that, chat. Changing grapes to crepes. That's how we get cryptocurrency in. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's it's a great acronym, and it makes sense. And it works out that way on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram or wherever you go. You can guarantee that one of those topics is going to become a flame war real quick. And again, my guess is that labeling it as such doesn't make it better. Just a guess, but these little pop-up might. It'll be interesting to see how that goes over time, and how this downvote button gets abused, because it seems like, for sure, that is the end result of that button. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. You know you get free shipping, but you get a whole lot more, including free music with Amazon Prime Music, free TV, movies and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video, free games, and a free Twitch subscription to support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming, and you get a lot more than that. We've got quick links to all of those and a few more features. Plus, if you're not already a subscriber, a 30-day free trial, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. I guess we're going to have to update that text because the price of Prime is about to go up. Our recommendation is get your year in now while you can. Anyway, so we were talking about NFTs a little while ago. Obviously, anytime something new happens in digital, we see scams come out of it, right? We saw, cryptocurrency became popular, and so the scam ICOs happened. And in fact, another one literally just happened a week ago on Twitch. But we're not going to get into that. Instead, we're going to get into we can have a conversation on whether NFTs themselves are a scam, but let's take a step back from that and assume that pet rocks have a value. And now we will talk about somebody selling a pet rock that's not a pet rock that they don't even own. And that's the scam that happened with a site called HitPiece. I became aware of this scam about a week ago when the comedian Patton Oswalt tweeted about it, because somebody tagged him and said, "Hey, Patton Oswalt, did you know that HitPiece has NFTs of your content listed on their site?" And he's like, "What even is this?" I can't use the words he actually used, but that was the tone of what he was going for. It turns out the whole site was nothing but NFTs of content that the minters did not own, which brings us to a whole bigger problem on NFTs, right? How do the people creating the NFTs how does the platform minting an NFT prove that the person minting the NFT actually owns the thing on the other end? It seems,
Right.
based
how do
on
you
this,
know
it
I'm
seems
not
like it's
selling-
not.
Right. So, I don't understand. Here's the thing I don't understand. Is there a central repository for NFTs, like the blockchain or something that says, like, this is to make sure that nobody sells the same NFT to another person?
So NFTs almost exclusively run on the Ethereum blockchain, and it guarantees that the GUID, the NFT, only exists once and only exists in one person's possession. The problem is that the minting process, unlike the minting process for coins, is public. So the minting process for coins is a very private, very behind the scenes process, right? So you do your mining, you do your proof of work or your proof of stake or whatever it is, and eventually a coin is minted and it exists in the blockchain. But with NFTs, the process of minting a blockchain is pretty public. Just about anybody can create a minting process. And so here we are. We have no current way of validating that the NFT that has been minted is for a thing that the person who minted it owns. And so HitPiece minted NFTs for very high profile content that was not even remotely related to them, and then sold it for a ton of money.
So, first of all, who wants to buy an NFT of, well, aside from the fact that who wants to buy an NFT, period.
I was going to say, you could have stopped before of.
Yes. I mean, like, but you said we didn't want to get into just the fact that NFTs in general are a scam.
I am fine getting into that. I think
NFTs in general are a scam.
I 100% agree.
I think there is not even a pyramid scheme.
I believe that there is a context in which they make sense. I think the minting process as it exists now is a huge problem. I think the idea of minting an NFT to represent digital assets within, say, a game that is already having people sell those assets outside of the game. World of Warcraft and gold, for example. You can go on eBay, you can buy it, and the whole transaction is a crapshoot because you have to guarantee that the other person is going to show up, the money's going to change hands, the assets are going to change hands. It is a total chaos. But if you had that ability to trade assets outside of the game, I think there's some value in that. But to have an NFT that proves that you own some easily accessible digital asset is crazy. A photo, music, an episode of our show, all of it seems insane to me.
Why would you want that? Like, who cares? You know,
right?
Who cares? This is the lamest bragging right ever. This would be like, you know, if I decided that I really wanted my son to feel like I bought him something really great, so I bought myself a new car, and then I was like, guess what? I bought you a brand new car, but you're 9 years old, you can't drive it, but you can tell everybody, so I'll be driving it.
Right.
You won't be driving it. You won't be using it, but good news, you can tell everyone it's your car.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I'm telling your sister the same thing. So
just don't tell each other.
Yes, just don't tell each other. So, like, you know, what, like, if like you feel, if the feeling of ownership of something feels that important to you, then you've got a problem. You've got a hole in your being. If just being able to say that you own something means that much to you.
Right. Even though you're going to brag about it by sharing the image. And now it's public because I can guarantee, I haven't even gone and looked, but I can guarantee that Jimmy Fallon and Paris Hilton, who both spent way too much money on NFTs of the monkey, have shared those images on their Twitter account. So now everybody can use it. It's in the wild. I can long press on it on mobile. I can right click on it on desktop, save the image, and I just barely, they just barely own it more than I do. I mean, just barely. What? What are we even talking about? In the chat room, who cares is the bottom line. That was your comment, Abram. Who cares? Exactly. Who cares is the bottom line. It's honest to God, they're pet rocks. They're a thing that people are pretending have value when you can just get one out of your backyard. I don't know.
Right. I mean, look, there's the person who farts in a jar and was selling wants to sell NFTs of her farts, although we have no proof that she actually farted for each NFT.
Right. True.
Like, is it possible that you in fact are not getting a legit fart? Like, it might not even be worth the.
And instead, you're just owning the NFT that represents the concept of a fart?
Yes, I certainly want to pay for the concept of someone's farts.
Oh my god!
I mean,
I'm gonna go
listen,
a weird.
It smells better than the real thing.
True enough. I'm gonna take this an interesting direction because I got a press release. I think today, the first house is going to be sold via NFT, and of course, because like all weird things, it's going to start here in the Tampa area. It's being sold blockchain, cryptocurrency and NFT is how this house is going to be sold. I swear to God, I don't even understand. I can't even wrap my head around that.
So wait, is it an actual house that you're getting, or is it that you get an NFT to say that my house is your house?
Right, there's that. I don't know. I legitimately don't understand. I read the whole thing
I want to
5
buy
or
an
6
NFT
times.
to my house. You can say it's your house, but it's still my house, and I get to live here. Like,
because I still have the deed, and the NFT means absolutely nothing.
Right.
I don't know. The whole thing is so stupid. I can't even wrap my head around it at this point. And so the idea that there are NFTs representing things that the minters didn't own, I don't know. That seemed inevitable to me. How was that not going to be the way this went within a very short period of time? Right? Doesn't it seem like that was absolutely inevitable? That there was no way that this wasn't how this went?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. Some pretty high profile people have gotten into some pretty impressive trouble trying to defend NFTs. Kevin Pereira is a great example. They almost shut down a live broadcast of Attack of the Show mid-episode because of the flame he was receiving for trying to say that NFTs were a good thing. Which, if only that was their biggest problem over there. But I mean, the general take on NFTs is so negative right now that even logical implementations of it are getting smacked around, which I understand. That makes sense to me. Once an okay idea is abused to this extent, it seems like even the good implementations of it are going to be a problem.
This is a waste. This is useless. I mean, but look, there's some fools out there who would love to be parted from their money. I mean, this is like all the business about people. I mean, I saw this thing about people. Didn't people used to at one point buy stars?
Yep.
Like, oh, we're going to name this star for you. But there was no regulation of this, so anyone could buy any star for anybody and sell it to anybody. And that's what this seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good way of looking at it, because there's more than one minting process. So the same thing could be minted more than once on different platforms, just like the International Star Registry and whatever the other big one was that both advertised on late night television. The same star is being sold twice, even if you've got like a guarantee on the platform that this one is yours. Another platform is exactly the same thing. I'm going to need an explanation on that from chat. See also Tulip Craze. I'm going to need more information on that. But yeah, this kind of thing happens all the time. You can buy 1 square foot of land in Ireland or something in a particular area so you can call yourself a lord or a lady or some kind of nonsense. It's all crazy.
Now, I mean, if I get a square foot of land, right, and I
At
could
least it's a
actually
little
go
better.
there and if it existed and I could actually go there and sit on my land, that would be pretty cool.
If it's 1 square foot sitting on it, it's going to be pretty difficult.
Oh, yeah. They better mark off my part, though, right? Like, if I could
a little
stick
flag.
Yeah, I want a little flag or something if that's the case. I mean, we had this discussion about my wife and I had this discussion when we lived in a condo. So we lived in a condo for many years, and they said that we owned our condo, and then we had something like 6% ownership of the building or something like that.
Okay.
So what does that mean? I was like, oh, I wonder if I could say that one of the buttons in the elevator is mine.
You have fractional ownership of the button that leads to your floor.
Yeah, listen, that I own the whole button. You may own the elevator. You may own the door. But if you want to hit that 6, that's all mine.
All right, I have information on the Tulip Craze. The Tulip Craze in 17th century Holland is widely known as the very first economic bubble. The price of tulips escalated so much that people sold their valuables to buy tulips. Okay, yeah. And that's even crazier because tulips aren't forever. A Beanie Baby is probably not even biodegradable, so that thing was going to stay around forever. But a tulip, not so much. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think a tulip might have a longer lifespan than an NFT.
Yes. Yeah. For a history of nonsense that predates NFTs, check out the 1860s extraordinary popular delusions and the madness of crowds. Okay, I'm in. Thank you. I don't know if that's a book or what it is, but whatever it is, I'm in. And Terry says that a tulip is going to smell better than an NFT. Certainly better than an NFT for a fart. So, thank you for tying all of that together. No matter what it is, the point of this is that RIAA, the Recording Industry Association of America, has gone after HitPiece, asking for basically all the information from HitPiece. What was minted, who it was sold to, how much it was sold for. They want a complete ledger because a lot of their members were victims of this. So this, I can guarantee, is just getting started because RIAA, like a dog with a bone, does not let go of things easily. This is just getting started, and I cannot wait to see how this goes. Hopefully, they won't be suing a grandmother with a Mac for having software that is PC only, which definitely happened in the Napster days. Whoop, that's the wrong button. That's the button I was looking for. Well, that is our show. Thank you to our live viewers for joining us. We had a lively conversation tonight. We always appreciate that. If you did not join us live and would like to in the future, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, you can go to f5live.tv/join us. There you can chat with us, give us your feedback, let us know about the Tulip Craze and a book that definitely sounds like I'm going to be reading it very soon. If you're not able to join us live, though, that is okay. plughitslive.com/subscribe. You'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along. We've got tons of content still coming out, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Social media, you can see all of the stuff as we publish it. And don't forget that on YouTube and Twitch, you can become a member of our community, get some bonus content, including this show without ads, all of our CES content, ahead of time, and other event content as well. If you are in the area in, I think, 10 days, 11 days, on the 17th, we will be at the Synapse Summit. We will not be doing a live show from there, but instead I will be moderating a panel on esports in the morning, and then we will be running Hotto, I believe, on the ice at Emily Arena. Obviously the ice will be covered so we don't kill people, but that's going to be a ton of fun. It'll be a great way to get yourself warm in a very cold building. But Synapse Summit's always a lot of fun, so definitely come check it out. If you're in the area, if you'd like more information, feel free to reach out to us and we can give you more. And I think with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Abram.
And we will see you back next time. Ciao.